Now we're still on problem 9-3, only we're going to answer B. So it asks us to compare the measures of these three pairs of angles, C and D on figure 1, H and J on figure 2, and W and S on figure 3, and figure out how each of these angles is related. So let's take a look at those right now. So we're looking at these two angles, C and D. So I'm going to do something first to help make this a little clearer. Notice that C and D are on the inside of these parallel lines. They're both on the inside of these parallel lines. But they are on opposite sides of this line, which is the transversal. So notice that positioning. Now, the next thing I want you to notice is their measurement. So as you can see, these two measures are exactly the same. So these angles have exactly the same measure. All right, let's take a look at the position of these two angles, which are H and J. So again, I'm going to put these two strips of paper so that we're focusing on the inside of these parallel lines. And once you've done that, I want you to take a look and see where H and J are in relation to this transversal. So you can see that H is on one side and J is on the other side. Now, of course, look at the measurement of the two angles. So we can see that they're both 28 degrees. They're both the same. All right, let's take a look at our last pair. And again, I'm going to put these strips of paper over the outside so that you can focus on the fact that these two angles are on the inside. So we're looking at W and we're looking at S. They're on the inside of these parallel lines, and they are on the opposite sides of this transversal. So one is on this side, one is on this side. Now let's look at the measure. As was in the case of the other two, the measure of W and S is exactly the same. It's 41 degrees. So if we go back to the book and take a look at how these pairs of angles are related, you can talk about their position inside the parallel lines. You can talk about the fact that they are on alternate sides of the transversal. And you can talk about the fact that they are the same measurement. So once you've done that, then read this definition. So put me on pause while you read this definition. So having read this definition, you know that angles between a pair of lines, so on the inside, and on opposite sides of the transversal are called alternate interior angles. So that's what these pairs of angles are. And now what I'd like you to do is talk about what we discovered when we looked at these two angles. So if parallel lines are cut by a transversal, then alternate interior angles are. So we discovered when we looked at the angles that they had the same measurement. So you should be thinking about the fact that alternate interior angles, and I'm going to write that up here, alternate interior, meaning inside the parallel lines, angles, are so the same or equal measures, or another word for that is congruent. So just as we found with corresponding angles, we are finding out that alternate interior angles are also equal.